Revelation 20, verse 10 through 15. Then the devil who had deceived them was thrown into the fiery lake of burning sulfur, joining the beast and the false prophet. There they will be tormented day and night, forever and ever. And I saw a great white throne, and the one sitting on it. The earth and sky fled from his presence, but they found no place to hide. I saw the dead, both great and small, standing before God's throne, and the books were opened, including the book of life, and the dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. The sea gave up its dead, and death and the grave gave up their dead, and all were judged according to their deeds. Then death and the grave were thrown into the lake of fire. This lake of fire is the second death. And anyone whose name was not found recorded in the book of life was thrown into the lake of fire. Revelation 20, verse.
Hello, viewers. My name is Sidney Winston, and I'm an atheist activist out of Vancouver, Canada. That was a reading from the book of Revelation, and scary it certainly was. Hello, welcome. Let me just tell you what's going to happen here. There is a scholar, a Dr. Elaine Pagels, who wrote a book about the book of Revelation. She actually explains it extremely well. It makes so much sense. The whole idea of the book and why it was written and the period and the time and the chaos, etc., etc., etc. She explains it really well. She was a guest on MythVision Podcast, and MythVision Podcast is run by Derek. So I suggest that you go and follow MythVision Podcast. And while I'm just going to set up here a little bit of, there we go. Just give me one moment. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my favorite place on the internet. Guess where that is? Bet you can't. Yes, it is the chat window with you guys. Let's see who's here. Hello. Okay, let's see who's here. I'll just go to the top. Cryptomeria. Good morning. Lals Junkie. Hey. Welcome. Good to see you. Hope we're going to talk again soon. Clout. New name. How are ya? Mr. Lumpkin. Good morning. Most epic. Howdy. I don't know what that was, but whatever. Who else is here? Okay, I think I've covered everybody. Now, I want to get into this. Into this. I don't know if it's an interview so much as and it's not a lecture, but it's a talk, and I've listened to some of it. And what I listened to was Lulz Junkie. What I listened to was enthralling. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. And it starts at the beginning. So let's. Do you mind if we get going? Is it okay? No, Cloud. This is live. This is not after the fact. This is like happening right now. So we haven't started yet. That was just the beginning was just me reading some of the book of Revelation, just to show you how obviously imaginative the writer was. If not imaginative, then scared out of his wits because of what was happening. Anyway, let's get into it, because I think you'll find it very interesting. I sure did.
Professor Elaine Pagels, what motivated you, or what was your driving purpose in diving deep into the book of Revelation, writing your book on the book of Revelation?
Well, you know, Derek, this is the most controversial book in the Bible. It always has been from the very start. I mean, some people said it was heresy, some people said it was true prophecy, and they were fighting about it thousands of years ago, right after it was written. And Martin Luther said it didn't belong in the Bible, and, you know, all kinds of controversy. So I really didn't go near that book for a long time. But there was a time when the work that I do took me to Egypt because of the secret Gospels. That's where they were found. And I spent quite a bit of time in Egypt. And the Egyptians loved America. They wanted to have blue jeans. They wanted to hear American music. They love America, right? This is when I went there. But at a certain point, President Bush decided to invade Iraq. This was, of course, after 9/11, and he didn't go for Al-Qaeda, which would have been the right thing to do. He could have gone into the camps in Afghanistan, but instead he went, into Iraq, which wasn't involved with 9/11 in the way that he claimed. And I thought, how do you turn the entire Arab world against the United States? It's by that kind of act. I think Saddam Hussein was a terrible man, but I agree with him on that. But that act was bound to turn Arabs against the United States. And I thought, why did he do that? And then I discovered that he, being a Christian, an evangelical Christian, was basing it on the book of Revelation. And I thought, wow, I mean, how do you take a book that's 2,000 years old and say it applies to what's going on now? So I thought, how does that work? Because, people have been reading it for 2,000 years as if it were always about what's going on right now. It might be the 2nd century, it might be the 7th century, it might be the 15th century, it might be the 21st, but it's always current. How does that work? So I started to say, who wrote this book and why did he write it? It's clear to people who look at that historically that it was written by this prophet who calls himself John of Patmos. We think he was a refugee from the Jewish war against Rome, the Jewish Revolution, in which revolutionaries fought the Roman Empire to liberate their land from Rome, the way that the American revolutionaries fought to liberate this country from the British. Mm-hmm. And of course, the Jews lost because the Romans had far greater military power. And John was forced to leave Jerusalem, probably with the temple in flames, the whole center of the city burning down. Thousands of people had been slaughtered, raped, robbed. The whole city was absolutely in ruins. And John, being a Jew, would have been very deeply distressed to see the great city of the holy city of Jerusalem destroyed. But John was also a follower of Jesus. And there's something else came up for him, because he knew, probably having read Mark's Gospel, 13th chapter, that Jesus had prophesied that terrible things would happen before the end would come. And Jesus said that those within the same generation will see the kingdom of God come with power. And he said that the Son of Man would come in the heavens after this terrible time when Jerusalem would be destroyed by war. So John was not only devastated about the destruction of the holy city, but he thought, Jesus prophesied this, and now it's going to happen. So he, like other followers of Jesus, were very excited. So he waited 10 years. When is it going to happen? When is the Son of Man going to return in the clouds? He waited 20 years. And he waited 30 years. And it didn't happen. He had left Jerusalem because it was a destroyed city. He went to Asia Minor, to the great city of Ephesus, which is now in Turkey. And when he got there, he would go down the huge road that leads into this magnificent Roman city. And the first thing he would see is a 20-foot-high statue of the reigning emperor Domitian. Now, Domitian is the son of the general Titus, who had taken his troops into Jerusalem. And he's the brother of Titus, who had his soldiers torch the temple and destroy the city. So, where's the kingdom of God, he might have said. Jesus said it would come within a generation, but John could see that the kingdom that had come with power was not the kingdom of God. It was Rome. And Domitian was now ruling the world, the son of the man who destroyed his own city. And there was an enormous temple to the man who had destroyed Jerusalem, Vespasian and his son Titus, right there in Ephesus. And he must have been quite devastated. And if he went around to other cities, he would see these huge temples to praising Rome, the gods of Rome, and the emperors of Rome, rulers of the universe, right? Mm. And if you went to one of these temples, you would see a picture of Emperor Augustus, for example, ruling over land and sea. The next one would be Emperor Nero, with his, he's about to cut the throat of a naked female slave forced to the ground, and that slave is labeled Britain. The next one is another Roman emperor forcing to the ground a naked female slave whose name is Armenia. And that's the way the Romans pictured the nations they conquered. So you could go around this temple in honor of the Roman emperors and their gods. You could see 30 nations that they had conquered and subdued and pictured as female slaves that were being dominated by Rome. And one of them was Judea, the land of Israel. So other people might be very impressed with the Roman emperors and their gods, but someone like John would be really angry. Where was God? How could he allow that to happen again to the holy city? So John, at that point, when he was in that city of Ephesus, or near, on the island of Patmos, outside of it, he said he saw a vision. And he said Jesus appeared to him with a voice like, thunderous waters, speaking to him and saying, I'm going to show you what's going to happen next. And at that point, he said he was taken up into heaven and shown that God was going to vindicate his people. And there was going to be a battle between the forces of good. The angels in heaven were going to come with the Son of Man and fight all the evil forces, which meant the Romans and their godless people. And he was going to destroy the evildoers and establish his kingdom on earth. The last scene in the book of Revelation, you remember, is the heavenly Jerusalem is descending like a bride out of heaven, and God is dwelling in it, and it's a glorious city, right? That's the end. So that was his picture. And that, I think, was his expectation. He was writing wartime literature that came out of his experience of the agony of war and his fervent hope and faith that God wouldn't let it go on that way, that he was going to come and transform the world. It's a very powerful book, as you know.
Yeah, there's a few interesting details that I caught. I became a full preterist toward the end of my being in Christianity, which simply is a teaching that all prophecy, mind you, I was fundamentalist,
Yes,
evangelical, all prophecy was fulfilled. Everything actually happened. So we're rationalizing and we're trying to make it all work. And the way we looked at Revelation was, well, everything is fulfilled by 70 AD. I know it doesn't quite fit in your scholarly mindset of how that would be, but we would argue that Revelation was written before 70, as if everything is predicting the 70 AD destruction of Jerusalem. And like these like women riding on the beast and stuff, and the seven-headed beast or the seven hills, things like that, we would reinterpret it to mean the seven hills in Jerusalem, or the Jews, the leadership, they were the ones who were the wicked and they were the bad guys in this picture. But
really?
This is why I enjoyed listening to your book, because it's a breath of fresh air on realizing you don't have to fit everything into that box. And I was trying to fit it along with other full preterists, that everything is fitting to 70 AD. You mentioned in your book that there was 4th Ezra is also taking place in the same post-war situation.
Right, it is.
He talks about a 3-headed beast, not a 7. And the 3 heads are Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian.
Right. And, people have done this forever. And that's very interesting. We really don't know when it was written. Some people that I know, scholars, John Marshall, for example, in Canada, thinks that it was written before the fall of Jerusalem.
Right.
I don't know. I think most likely it was written after that. He came out of the war and was anticipating that was going to be what would motivate the Lord to come and vindicate his people.
Well, some of the things they do is they'll say, John's supposedly measuring the temple. Supposedly.
Well,
right.
Following Ezekiel. That's
right. And I kind of thought, like, the way they'd interpret that is literally like he's going with a measuring rod and he's actually measuring the actual Jerusalem temple as if it's still standing. So that's their argument of internal evidence to suppose pre-70. And then another one they'll use, things which must soon take place. And they use that whole mellow concept in Greek where everything's about to happen. It's about to happen.
Yes.
They apply that to the same concept where Jesus is talking about when you see these things, it's about to happen. So they apply all this language to the synoptic apocalypse, if I could use that language, as the destruction of Jerusalem.
Well, it is about the destruction of Jerusalem, I think. And I think it's more likely that it was written really in the aftermath, as like fourth Ezra, another Jewish prophet who was weeping over the destruction of the city, and saying, how could God allow these godless people to destroy his holy city, and what have we done to deserve this? Mm-hmm. So this is the struggle of devout Jews at that time. And the beast, the 7 hills, I think, are clearly about Rome.
Right.
And the 7-headed beast is the dynasty of the kings, just as you said, and just as it appears in 4th Ezra. Probably from Augustus to the time of Domitian. You can argue which head of the beast is who, but these are the beast with 7 heads and crowns on its heads,
kings,
and so forth. Yeah, these are rulers, and they're Roman rulers, and they are monsters, and enemies.
I mean, it's clear to me we don't even have to spend a lot of time. I think it's very common sense to see the 666 as Neron Kaiser, the title for Nero. And then he's red hair, which we get the same description from historians. So when you're looking at extra biblical historical data, you're kind of matching this guy and you're going, he was vicious. And even if some of it's not true and it's propaganda about him, well, some of it might be, some of it's probably not. I don't know. What do you think?
Everybody knew that Nero was the worst. That's why he appears as the epitome of the worst of the Roman Empire. He was finally condemned to death by his own people, to a disgraceful and hideous death, which he only escaped by forcing his slave to kill him by sword. Mm-hmm. Nero was a dreadful man. So, however, how do people keep reading into that for thousands of years? I finally realized, Derek, that this author is using the language, he's saturated in the language of the prophets. He reads Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel. He knows these classical prophets by heart. And he sort of uses their images and reinterprets them for his own time.
It's amazing you're saying this is so obvious to me, because exactly what the prophet John on the island of Patmos is doing is exactly what, say, Daniel might be doing using older prophets too. And
yes,
it's this tool, this prophetic, symbolic, like Daniel talks about the four kingdoms or the four parts of this big statue. And you see Second Temple Judaism start to reinterpret what the bottom statue was. Oh, it was Greece. No, it's Rome. And they start to make it mean what they want in their contemporary time.
And the prophet Isaiah speaks about Israel's enemy, Babylon, as a whore. Right? She's a queen. She's a prostitute. She's corrupt. She's rich. And God is going to destroy her and shame her. That whole city of Babylon. And Babylon is contrasted with the holy city of Jerusalem. So how do people keep reading into it? I finally realized that what John does, he uses these traditional themes from other prophets. He's one of them. And basically they are images that you could find in any child's nightmare. They're images of monsters, beasts, dragons, horrifying insect-like creatures that appear in Star Wars 3. And there are angels. And so there's a battle between good and evil. You see this in the dramas that we have, like Lord of the Rings. It's a force of good against evil. You see it in Star Wars, which is about Luke Skywalker, whose name speaks about a heavenly origin, and Darth Vader, who's the Dark Father, and they clash. So the forces of good and evil are battling in those stories. Harry Potter as well. I mean, these are all stories about forces of good, forces of evil. But the images are so universal, like dragons, beasts, monsters, whores, angels, heavenly kingdoms, that you can plug any conflict you have into that.
Like the mark of the beast. People are talking about chips. It's like, oh, well, if you have this stamp on your hand, right? Or like if you have the mark on your hand or your forehead, you can't buy or sell. And so everyone's starting to do every time. It's so Nostradamus, if I can use the term, that it can mean almost whatever. You know, the twin cities of the Father's flying angels and wings of, and you're like, oh, that means this or that. It's easy.
Well, it's a battle of dark forces and light forces, good and evil, God and Satan. And that works very powerfully as a dramatic scenario, apocalyptic scenario from the Hebrew prophets. And that's why it's so easy to plug in any conflict you have. And of course, whoever's reading it will say, well, we of course are on the side of good. And for example, what I discovered, this was quite remarkable to me, that when George W. Bush got intelligence reports about the Iraq War from Donald Rumsfeld, the Secretary of Defense's office, they would appear on his desk in the White House with a photograph and a quote from the Bible.
Wow. One
of them was of the American tanks going into Iraq with all of the guns at the ready. And the quote was from Isaiah, "Let the righteous nation enter." Another one was about shock and awe. You've heard of shock and awe, which is NASA's name for the bombing of Iraq, American bombs destroying much of Iraq. And that is taken from a scene in the book of Revelation in which the prophet John sees God's angels, 7 angels, with huge bowls, which they pour out on the earth. And what they're pouring out is the wrath of God. It is lightning and thunder and earthquakes. So there's a scene in the book of Revelation in which John says he sees 7 angels, and each one has a huge bowl, and each bowl is full of God's wrath, and one pours God's wrath on the earth, and terrible things happen. And then the second angel pours the bowl of God's wrath on the earth, and terrible things happen. And then the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth. And the 6th angel pours God's wrath on the earth, and it says there's huge explosions and noise, and lightning sort of brilliant light, and people die on earth cursing God. And that was taken to be the bombs that are bombing Iraq, which happens to be Babylon. It is Babylon, the ancient city of God's enemies.
So you think that might be motivating factor for why he went there?
I don't know. But in any case, he understood it, apparently. It's shock, you see, to unbelievers. But it's awe, if you understand, that the Americans are bringing God's wrath at the end of time.
Wow.
So, you see, I think that he, from what I could tell, and I don't know, genuinely believed that it was his divinely given task to fulfill God's will. And he was told that the book of Revelation, is encouraging the operations he took to stamp out evil on earth. So I think he may have been an honest believer who intended that. But that was how I started to understand, how do people do this for thousands of years? So that, for example, when Christians started the first crusade against Muslims in the 11th century, the Catholic King of France preached the book of Revelation. You've got to go and save the holy city from the infidels. That's what the book of Revelation is about. So the first crusade, with Christian armies fighting the Muslims in Jerusalem, was preached as the fulfillment of that prophecy. Then, when you look at the wars in Europe, in, for example, Britain, and the wars between Catholics and Protestants. Both Catholics and Protestants saw this as the coming of the end of time, and they both used the book of Revelation. That's why Martin Luther, when he translated the book of Revelation, he had the pictures in it of the whore riding on the beast, and she was there identified as the Pope of Rome, the Catholic Church. That's what you have to destroy, said Luther. And the Catholics wrote a biography of Luther, and they pictured him as the seven-headed beast. On the frontispiece of it, you can see Martin Luther was 7 heads.
You know, this is amazing. I fell into the trap of that interpretation when I was a Protestant, because I thought, you really pit yourself against, you're a Protestant, you're protesting against the Catholic Church. And I thought it's hilarious, because I watched a lecture you did on this specifically, talking about this. But it's fascinating because Martin Luther did exactly what Irenaeus and the early church fathers did. Martin Luther at first goes, this book doesn't fit.
This book doesn't belong. But he figured out how to use it against the Catholic Church, and then in the Civil War, I can show you. Maybe you saw this. It was used on the southern side to indicate that Lincoln, the president, was being strangled by the beast, which was the Union, and therefore it was the task of the Confederate Army to destroy the evil beast. And it was used on the north, in which the seven-headed beast is seen with the 7 heads of the Confederate generals, and that is the evil beast. So what fascinated me, Derek, most of all, is that when you have a conflict like that, the war in this country, the Civil War, it can be used on both sides, because both sides can plug themselves into, we're the good side, they're the bad side. And then the same thing happened in World War II. Do you know that Adolf Hitler, although not a Christian, his propaganda minister, Joseph Goebbels, was a Christian. And Goebbels set forth information to German Christians, both Catholics and Protestants, that Adolf Hitler was clearing the way for the coming of Christ. The Dritte Reich, the Third Reich, was going to be the third millennium in which Christ would rule the earth, but Adolf Hitler was his forerunner, who had to clear the earth from pollution, which meant for the Nazis, it meant homosexuals, it meant Jews, it meant people who resisted Adolf Hitler. So Hitler was acting out the book of Revelation. And on the Allied side, the British, the Americans who were fighting Hitler, also saw Hitler as the beast. So that's what's so striking. You see this also with Christian propaganda against Al-Qaeda, and the way that Al-Qaeda and other extremist Muslim groups see this country as the great Satan, the White House is the Black House. I mean, they pick up the same apocalyptic imagery and throw it back.
Yep, from their own traditions.
Yes,
even.
so that that's what's so remarkable about the book of Revelation. It is powerfully written, it's written with passion, it's emotionally powerful, and
it's a perfect ventriloquist dummy, though. It is the perfect you can kind of puppet it to say.
Well, it's very useful, particularly in war, because it is about extreme conflict. And, you know, one of the things that I came to, and I thought it was very interesting to understand something about how the images in that powerful book can be read, can be read in so many ways. And then I thought, there's something about this book that really troubles me, much as I respect the power of the writing. And that is that what it teaches, what that apocalyptic scenario teaches, is that you cannot compromise with those people that you think are evil. You cannot negotiate. If you have a conflict, you are on God's side. They are on Satan's side, whoever you think they are. So you have to annihilate them. So what it teaches people is you can't negotiate with the other side. You have to destroy them. That's why you mentioned, for example, QAnon. Mm-hmm. It is a religious movement. It uses the same apocalyptic imagery in its own way. And many of the people, I'm told by people who were there, when many people went into the Capitol on the 6th of January, were serious Christian believers who believed they were saving this country from evil forces. So the problem I have with the book of Revelation is that that's what it teaches us about conflict. And I think, for myself, I would say what we need to learn about conflict is that people on different sides of important issues have different interests. And if you sit down and listen to them, you do what the American government was set up to do with different parties. You negotiate, you listen to them, you give a little, you take a little, they give a little, you take a little, you work it out so that you find a solution that isn't the solution of either side, but it's a compromise between people with very different views. That's what the American government was set up to be. Mm. But that book of Revelation and the way this ancient tradition of apocalyptic thinking says, no, you can't do that. You can't compromise. You have to annihilate them. Hmm. So I think that putting that into our politics, or any politics, the politics of Israel or the politics of Turkey or any country whatsoever that is using that kind of imagery, teaches you that you have to annihilate and destroy the enemy.
Thank you.
Oh wow, that was that was rather powerful. That's amazing. Okay. So it seems to be a resounding unanimous agreement that a conversation room would go down well right now. So, I agree. I most heartily agree. But what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go and set it up, okay? So, I'm going to be off this camera and I'm going to go set up the room. And I'll be back in a moment. And we'll see you then. Hey, Mika. How you doing? I'm not hearing you. Oh, something could be happening. There we go.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, hear you now. Just fine.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
Oh, you can hear me?
I can hear you. What's
Yeah,
the...
I'm fine. How are you, sir?
Sure, I'm good. What's the time there?
Well, let me check. 9:30 in the evening.
9:30.
I'm in Finland.
You're in Finland. Okay. I'm in Western Canada. It's not even... It's
In the
11...
evening.
Yeah, it's 11:30
Yeah,
in the
Finland.
morning.
Yeah.
Did you...
Yeah. I'm like in...
You're in Finland. Yeah, I know. But
Yeah.
my question is, did you follow the football?
Yeah, I'm like in the other side of the world, basically.
Yeah. You're close to Euro 2020.
Sorry, your line is cracking up.
Sorry, I said you live close to where the action is for Euro 2020. Is it my line? Yeah, it's kind of. If somebody else was in here and was doing the same thing, I could tell.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, you can hear me now.
Yeah, just that I can't. My camera's not working, so I've got to go look and see why.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Your video freezes, so sometimes I'm not sure if we're actually connected.
Sorry? Oh, I can see you now. Yes.
Oh, okay. So my camera is working.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes, I can see your massive beard.
It's
So how's the
It's-
weather in?
the
Canada.
weather is it's good, nice. It's 18 degrees
Bit
Celsius.
hot.
It was very hot last week ago, but now it's 18 degrees Celsius,
18
cloudy.
degrees.
18 Celsius.
27 Celsius at the moment.
Uh,
You guys, you know.
all right. 27?
Yeah. I'm sitting at the balcony right now, you know, just enjoying a beer and
Oh, so you're getting
Yeah.
the heat wave that we just had. It must have just traveled from Western Canada, and it just hit you in Finland.
yeah.
That's very cool. Okay.
If I read correctly, it's coming from Russia to us. Well, yeah.
Could be. There's two of them. There's no reason to think that we got the only heat system in the world. We don't have a copyright on that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, in our country, basically the normal summer is like 15 degrees and raining. Really unusual. It's been over 25 Celsius, like, I don't know, maybe a month now.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
Proves all the flat earth idiots wrong. Because,
That's a good
it's
point. Yeah.
9:30 in the evening, I'm sitting outside.
Exactly. How can weather
Yeah.
actually exist?
The sun is basically shining still.
How can weather change on a flat Earth? Doesn't make sense. Because there's no natural circulation path, right?
No, it's everything is
For air.
like wrong in their, you know, model or what. It's crazy. It's not that hard.
Oh no, not
Just
that
basic
hard.
physics.
But all they got to do is say
No, and you
you're
can
wrong.
prove it
You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Everything you say, you're wrong because you're listening to some scientist idiots who have, you know, learned their mantras in their schools and they're brainwashed. And get me started, man.
All right, I won't.
It's like, yeah, the level of idiotism is like uncanny. It's a lot same with a lot of religious people. It's
All religious people, you mean?
it doesn't matter what you say to them. It's like talking to a
We've lost a whole bunch of stuff here. Don't worry, lulz. We're having issues here, so I don't know even if anyone can hear me. But as you can see, Jitsy's slowing down again. Something I have to take into account next time I use it is how to stop this kind of nonsense from happening. Maybe I need to use ultra low latency or something. So yeah, lulz, you got 20, I got 18. It's cloudy though, it's not sunny, it's nice. It's actually cool, which is what I like. I like cool to cold. That's my nominal living ambient temperature outside. Cool to cold, preferably on the cold side. I don't know why, but this Jitsi thing seems to have frozen again. It's a bit of a shitty thing. I should take that into account. Oh, something's happened. Preview unavailable. Things are taking forever. I wonder if it's just the processor that I'm using, which is, for some reason or other, not very strong when it comes to Jitsi. You see, I turned my camera off about 20 minutes ago. And here I am on camera. Alright, I'm just going to let everything catch up and kind of not touch anything. So I'm just going to be talking about this book of Revelation. I had never read the book of Revelation, yet I had for years bumped in, because I never really cared about it, but for years and years and years I had been bumping into people who, Christian people obviously, who would warn me about what's coming. The book of Revelation has revealed it all. Don't read the book of Revelation. It will change your life. It will get you wondering and strike some fear and blah 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 blah. And I never really read it. I don't really care. But a couple of years back when the good folks, where the hell is it? Ah, there it is. a couple of years back, when the good folks at the Gideons sent me a Bible on request, look how small this print is. Can you believe it? But anyway, it's a Bible. I read the book of Revelation, and I'll tell you how, because I used some very ancient technology to help me out with the print. Okay, so what I did was this. I wonder if it's gonna... Okay, here's a little test of old technology. Okay, so here's it. I used old technology. Here it is. Now let me see if it's gonna work. Probably not. Anyway, so finally my camera switched off. Jesus Christ, that took literally 10 minutes. Oh, and it switched on again. I don't know. So anyway, as the story goes, I got my Bible and I read the book of Revelation. And I read it through, tried to read it slowly and try to sort of grasp every little thing that's going on all over the place, right? And to my great surprise, it wasn't very long, so I read it again and paid more attention to what all those, the snakes and the dragons and the seven and the blah, 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 all this kind of crap, right? And once I'd read it twice, I started questioning what I had read in relation to what I had been told about this book of Revelation. So anyway, obviously it wasn't scary. It was kind of imaginative, creative, horror genre maybe of ancient times. Not my cup of tea. I don't even like those stories today in modern terms. So it's kind of a dumb, sort of a. The way I thought, I didn't know the history of the area at the time. Literally, I didn't know the history that well. I didn't know the context of the book of Revelation when it was written, but I could tell that it was written in a, jumbly, like, oh my God, the end of the world is coming, and when the end of the world is coming, God's gonna go. So I left it at that. And look how I'm frozen. It's funny. Okay, that's hilarious. It would seem that I've been Oh, I can rejoin. I'm trying to rejoin, I think. Yes, it's trying to rejoin. This is exciting, isn't it? Oh, join the meeting. Ah, that's funny. Artangelo. I don't think that FD97 FD. Yeah, it looks like it'll still work. Okay, hold on a sec. Hold on a sec, Artangelo. I'm on it. Don't fight with Artangelo. He's defenseless. All he has on his side is Jesus, and you know Jesus is not going to help. Anyway, hey Artangelo, come on in. Mika is apparently... Oh, I'm back on camera. Mika, are you still connected? Your connection's not so good? No, it looks like mine's not so great either. Well, I don't know if it's my connection. I don't know. It's more like my hardware. I think my hardware is starting to... it's starting to feel its age, because I've noticed that... the things that were only kind of every now and again hardly noticeable are starting to become more non-random, I would say, more frequent. So it looks to me like this hardware is going to have to be replaced at some point. I know, man. I need to trim, but you know what, Gandalf? I don't know. I don't know who I know Gandalf. The character is a Gandalf, but I'm not quite sure. I think I've even seen a movie with Gandalf in it. Well, I tell you what I'll do. I will read what Artangelo suggested. Okay. Artangelo suggested where did he go? Where are you, Artangelo? Okay, so let's see. There you go. Artangelo suggested Revelation 21:8. So, is there any reason at all that we shouldn't go to Revelation 21:8? What are we watching now? Alright, let's see where we go there. 21:8. Oops, that's 22. 21. Hold on a second, folks. We'll get there. We'll get there, I think. No, I wanted to go to Revelation. What's this? Alright, that's me. Boy, oh boy. This computer doesn't like to do too many things at once anymore. Used to be great for it. Now, I don't know. See, look how it's just taking so long. Look at this. You know, I sent the request literally 5 minutes. No, maybe not 5 minutes ago, but many minutes ago. and it's only serving me now. The cheek of the internet, I can't believe it. Anyway, we're looking for 21.8. 21.8. See how it's just taking forever? 21.8. Okay, here we go. Thank you, Artangelo. Nice. Nice one. Okay. Revelation 21:8. But cowards, unbelievers, the corrupt, murderers, the immoral, those who practice witchcraft, idol worshippers, and all liars, their fate is in the fiery lake of burning sulfur. This is the second death. Okay, happy? Let's talk about this one. 'Cause this does not make any sense to me. I'm going to read it again, okay, Artangelo? Just make sure you said, yeah, I'm reading the right one. Let me go see here. You said, oh, okay, you posted it in there. $21.8. Yeah, you said $21.8. Okay, so I'm going to read it again. All right, I'm also going to highlight it there. It's this one here, $21.8. Artangelo says something about $21.8. What does it say about it? There. The book will reveal you where you will spend eternity. Read Revelation 21:8. Okay. Everybody, except for Artangelo, everybody, this is where we will be spending eternity, okay? Now remember, we're all these people, all these descriptions are at the same level of deserving of the fiery lake of burning sulfur. Okay, ready? In no particular order, 21:8. But cowards, unbelievers, the corrupt, murderers, the immoral, those who practice witchcraft, idol worshippers, and all liars, their fate is in the fiery lake of burning sulfur. This is the second death. Their fate is in the fiery lake of burning sulfur. This is the second death. But cowards, unbelievers, the corrupt, murderers, the immoral, those who practice witchcraft, idol worshippers, and all liars, their fate is in the fiery lake of burning sulfur. This is the second death. Okay. Let's go see where we are with this what they call it. The Jitsi room. Okay. Well, Mecca did try and join, but His connection obviously wasn't great. Come on, Artangelo. I went to Revelation, and I went to Revelation, the one you like, 21:8, and I read it. Now I have a question, starting from the very last sentence. What is the second death that you're talking about? And why did you bring this one particular this particular verse of fantasy up? Huh? Tell me, Artangelo, please. Thanks, Crypta. You're great. Oh, look, my camera's on again. Okay. All right. Oh, look. All right, so now this is the chat room. I'm going to attempt to turn my camera off to save resources. Watch. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3, click. So I've clicked. Okay. So let's wait and see what happens. How long does it take to switch a damn camera off on this computer? I'm going to assume that it's going to speed things up once. Speed things up. Once the click gets responded to by the slow processor. It's quite something. Literally, when I said 1, 3, I clicked it then. Just wait to see. Artangelo, I've got some questions. If you're such an expert on Revelation, then please come in. I want to ask you about that second death specifically. And also we can, we've got Revelation on the screen. On the screen, we can actually read it and research it. Yes, one of these days, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that looks terrible. That definitely needs to be groomed. I know my camera's still on. I've got a feeling that if I click... See, there we go. That's how long it took. That's how long it took. From 3 till now. I don't know if anyone was counting. But anyway, that's how long it took. But that's just what I wanted. Okay, anybody? Oh, now I've been disconnected again. Jitsi and me. Jitsi, I don't know what's wrong with Jitsi, but it's disconnecting me every time. Let me see if it rejoins the same. Look, you can see it's, oh, what's happening? Alright, join. Okay, so the camera's off. My mic is off. Why is my mic off? Uh-oh. Okay, so my mic is off. My mic is on, which is good. Alright, so now I believe I'm in the room. Mic on and everything. Alright. There we go. I think we're back to normal. All right. We're now stable. And I want to know about this second death. It's in this Bible. Okay. Artangelo, don't be a wimp. Oh, come on. You said you're gonna... You made your presence known. Now I want to talk to you about the second death. This is the second death. So, okay, let's go through the sentence word by sort of by noun. Okay, coward, unbeliever, corrupt, murderer, immoral, witches, idol worshippers, liars. Okay, these are all the same degree of crime. No difference whether you're a murderer or an unbeliever. You deserve the same crime. And that crime is the fiery lake of burning sulfur. The fiery... How come I can't say that word? The fiery lake of burning sulfur. My mic is very low right now. Oh, loud. I'm sorry. Loud. Let me take it down a bit. There we go. Is that better? There we go. So, okay, so liars and murderers. Okay, let's do it this way. All right. Murderers and cowards. Same sentence. Fiery lake of burning sulfur. Murderers and unbelievers. Same sentence. Fiery lake of burning sulfur. Murderers and the corrupt. Same sentence. Fiery lake of burning sulfur. Murderers and the immoral. Same sentence. Fiery lake of burning sulfur. Murderers and those who practice witchcraft. Same sentence. Fiery lake of burning sulfur. Murderers and idol worshippers. Same sentence. Fiery lake of burning sulfur. Murderers and liars. Same sentence. Fiery lake of burning sulfur. This is the second death. Now this is the part that I haven't connected to anything prior yet. So, Artangelo, you are the resident expert on the Bible. You, sir, are invited in to explain to us what the fuck's going on here. Artangelo. Oh, you know what? I didn't check to see if that. I didn't check to see if the room was the same. Yes, it should be. So yes, Artangelo, the link at the very top is the one you click to join. This room right here. Me. See there. You can see I'm talking. Come on in. I invite anyone to come on in. The topic is the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation. All right, the book. Oh, I'm gonna have to rub it in. All right. Let's see the best way to do this. Oh, fuck you. Sidney, what are you doing? Okay, there we go. There we go. All right, I'm gonna put the topic on the screen. Now you know what we're gonna be talking about. I think I'm going to keep my camera off until. Well, right now everything seems to be working fine. I might run a little experiment in a wee while. Put my camera on just to see if if the bandwidth is, or how much the bandwidth is affected negatively, of course. Yes, we're all fucked at birth according to the Bible, but then the Bible's bullshit, so it doesn't matter what they say. Fuck them. Fuck them, huh? Fuck it at the Bible. Fuck it at the Bible. Fuck it at the Bible. Anybody, come on, somebody, come on in before I have to close this down out of humiliating embarrassment that nobody came in. Thank you. Hey, Crypto. Hi.
Hi. Is that working now?
Yes, it is. It's
Okay,
perfect.
good.
Welcome
Okay,
in. Thank you for coming in.
Yep. I'm just gonna listen for a bit. I'm still working on some stuff, but I'll pop in and
Yeah, no, I'm glad you popped in because I needed to see how this what was wrong because things weren't working out right. I thought maybe Mika was here before and he
yeah,
couldn't.
yeah.
So I didn't. I'm glad you came in to help me figure it out. So what were you listening to last? Because I can't figure out how far behind I am on the net.
Oh, it was where were we? Just about the list of sinners and the idols and blah blah blah.
Okay, well, I'm glad I actually have you here now. That you said you've been to listen to many Bible studies and so on, and
yeah.
And how many have you attended on the Book of Revelation?
Well, the Swaggarts did like 5 months of it, and then in the local church, I think we did probably around 10.
Okay, could you tell us what they taught you about the Book of Revelation?
Oh dear, this is gonna. Okay, but what they believe is that there's going to be a rapture.
Okay, what is a rapture? I'm sorry to ask you questions as if I don't know anything, but just that I don't know anything.
No, it's okay. It's this weird concept where before this big tribulation or during the tribulation or after, Jesus is going to lift up all the believers and they're just going to float off into heaven, and then the big war with Satan is going to happen.
What if one of those believers is a murderer?
Well, if they've given their heart to Christ, they will go up.
I know, but hold on. 21:8 says includes unbelievers and murderers. There's I don't think there's such a thing as a believer who's a murderer according to 21:8.
Oh no, they apparently Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy, they repented before, so they're
hold on. I'm talking to Artangelo right now. Let's talk to Artangelo and say, Artangelo, you're the one who said read 21:8. Now I got questions, okay? So it says the unbelievers and murderers and liars won't go to heaven. Right? Now, I can repent as a murderer, let's say, but I would never repent as an unbeliever. That's kind of stupid. So it's another reason for me to point out that the Book of Revelation, just like that lady said, Professor Elaine, she said that it's a war story. It's a story of the trauma of war and the Roman devastation that was wrought in Judea. We're talking about shell shock kind of stuff.
but people believe it's really going to happen. People believe it literally.
I know, but like she said, they've been believing it for 2,000 years that it's going to happen now.
Well,
you know, Crypto, on the internet right now, you could go on YouTube right now. You can go and find videos that were made yesterday. In fact, you can do this every day and find videos that were made yesterday by people proclaiming that the end of the world is coming. It's prophesied. It's the signs are out there. Blah 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 blah. The end of the world. This is what is very prolific on our interwebs.
Yeah.
Maybe at one point I should do a bit of a kind of a review of those channels.
That would be great.
That would be fun.
I think that would be great because there's so much out there and people really believe this.
What?
In church, they were so unhappy with their lives that they just couldn't wait to get to Jesus. Like, this rapture was the best thing in the world, the only thing they were looking forward to in their lives. And I'm like, why aren't you making your lives better, your communities better? Instead of wishing yourself dead, essentially, wishing yourself to Jesus, making everyone around you miserable. Instead, they just hold on to this.
Okay, so the rapture is about wishing yourself dead in the name of Jesus or something?
Well, everyone, all the believers float up. So if you're really, really good, Jesus is going to pick you for that ball team and you're going to float right up, golden ticket to the sky.
Okay, so good. Okay, so the Revelation promised rapture? Is that how you started off?
Well, that's part of it.
You were going to show me how it's the Swaggarts explain rapture, right?
Oh, okay. Well,
the Bible studies you went to. Sorry, I don't know.
Oh, they're awful because they believe honestly in the Antichrist coming back. It's going to be a Syrian Jew. It's going to be this big war. This is why it's important for Israel to stay because but they always wish Jesus to come back and be this warlord. And Jesus is going to take it out on all, and I'm just wow, so Jesus is, I don't know,
but Jesus has failed to come back so many millions and billions and trillions of times.
He's really late. Yeah.
No, he's non-existent.
No, he's just late.
He's rather tardy.
But
But given his non-existent nature, we must understand the slight tardiness of this man.
Well, it's in God's time, Sydney.
Your own time. That's right. Cricket's time. You got to understand. You got to understand
we
that
can't
God.
know when God's going to do things.
You got to understand one thing that nobody else in the whole world understands besides Sidney Winston. Is that God represents nothing, right? And nothing, and nothing exists. It does not exist. There is no nothing. So just like there is no nothing, there is no God, because God is nothing. So therefore, we can discount this God thing altogether and start talking about something something that's helpful, useful.
Well, the biggest thing I saw with Revelations is this whole concept of the lake and everything, and it puts so much fear into people that it becomes
burning
toxic.
sulfur. Are you kidding me? Burning sulfur?
People honestly are so believe this place is real, and they're going to go there, and so they're so afraid, and then they wish it they just oh well, you're going to go to the that's great. And it's I don't think it works like that.
Artangelo, get in here. Come on.
Yeah, or he could explain it better than me.
Of course he can. He believes it 100%.
He believes it. I never did.
It's the inherent word of God.
Well, yeah, and he would know it better than me. I mean, he seems like the
You know,
expert.
I honestly think that it's worth a trip down the historicity of the Bible road to find out exactly how all these things stitch together in a historical way, and the absolute the absolute work of man behind all of it. Oh, I got a question for you, and Henry Hansen just brought it up. Not so much the question, but the concept. What is an antichrist?
Someone who appears as Christ, but really is like Satan incarnate.
How would you know the difference?
I don't know. I kind of thought it was Trump, so.
Trump? Tell me something. Were you on the on the religious bandwagon of Trump's going to save the world?
I had to be because I was a mod. I didn't believe it. I just was trying to be polite, and you say what you're told to say.
Jesus Christ, were you in a cult?
Yes, this is what I kept trying to tell you. This is why I fucked up. You're helping.
Oh, what? You were in a cult? Okay.
Does this make a little more sense, Mike?
Yes, no, absolutely. I'm starting to feel you better now. So you're in a cult, and were you actually in a virtual cult, or you were actually like in a compound?
No, virtual cult.
Virtual cult. So how the hell that amazes me. How do they keep you encapsulated? How do they keep your mind encapsulated while you're in a virtual arrangement?
Well, I really wanted the reference on my resume. That didn't go so well.
Well, I don't know what you're laughing at because I wasn't there.
No, it's like they asked me to be a mod for their YouTube channel. They don't have a chat anymore. That's gone. But I just got sucked in. You know, I thought I don't. Okay, well, it was a pandemic. I thought I was doing something good. I thought I was being supportive to people, and it was also the election, and I wanted to show that liberals could find unity with the right, which was a total mistake. They don't deserve much respect.
Liberals?
No, the religious right, yeah. But I was trying to be like, oh no, like we're not the enemy, and then it's like, oh no, you guys did that to your capital. You guys are definitely the enemy. I'm totally, on the other side of. I basically thought I was doing something good, but.
Well, you know what? The thing is that you're not doing it anymore.
No.
You are one of the lucky ones. How many people are still doing it and feel that they're caught in it, just like you felt you were caught in it?
Probably lots.
Oh, you don't know of any? You don't know of any personally?
No, because I don't talk to anyone in the community anymore.
When did you leave this community?
I was with them from basically May until late July. So only a few months, but then it was like I was so freaked out about kids being on their chat that I couldn't turn away, and I kept petitioning YouTube, like, you gotta shut this down. There's bad stuff going on, and it finally went in February. It took me that long to get them off, but I just kept reporting them, and I kept sending YouTube letters. I kept sending like any groups up here that dealt with, that could help. You know, we don't have developed laws with online right now, but the more we keep pushing these cases, the more legislation will get through. And we do have better legislation in Canada for hate groups. Like Proud Boys are out. All these groups are under a bigger microscope.
Hold on a second. The Catholic Church is a hate group.
Oh, well, they're gonna start going.
Well,
People
they should
are
be the
fed
first you
up.
attack. They should be the first you attack. You don't attack the small people. You attack the absolute.
I don't think the
You attack
Swaggarts
the-
are small. I have my niche. This is, I
I want
can't-
the Catholic Church. In fact, I want all of Christianity to just fuck off.
well, I'm beginning to agree with you with that.
But you're a Christian.
No, I actually I'm getting so fed up. Like the more I just see these Christian channels on here, I'm just like, I can't call myself this. These people are sick.
Yeah, but these people are just the people. If you're a Christian, you're not a Christian for those people. You're a Christian for yourself and for Jesus Christ.
Well, I've always had an idea of God in my heart. Doesn't have a name. Could be like a purple elephant. I don't know. It never needed.
It's just not Jesus.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And it's like I keep the whole time the past just try it. No, Jesus is this middleman. Jesus isn't real. Like the
So
Romans.
did Jesus actually exist, or is it Jesus a myth?
Well, there were lots of Jesus. Like Romans kept good records. These
agree.
people didn't have good identification, but Jesus was a common name back then.
Yeah, and there were lots of crucifixions.
Yeah, like one year there were 50 Jesus. So which one on the cross was
Yeah, exactly.
the
And
actual
they
Jesus?
were probably all preachers, because it was the thing to do at the time during the apocalyptic time, the Romans and the sphere. So it was a common thing to see.
Yeah, well,
It's like right now, it would be a common thing to see street preachers. Let's just say, right now, it would be a common thing to see street preachers of all different Christian denominations and all different. Everybody's got a different name, and let's say in 2,000 years' time, this whole story of street preachers amalgamates into one character called Jim. In 2,000 years, that's the way they'll see street preachers, through this one character called Jim.
Yep, that's basically
And that's basically what happened
it
with Jesus. Yeah.
Yep.
I hope Artangelo could join us to affirm what I say.
I don't see him in the chat. I think he ran away.
No, he wouldn't do that.
He's lurking.
He's got to be lurking. Come on, Artangelo. Hey, you know what? Did you see Artangelo debate against J.L. Warren?
Oh. Yeah, I think I saw that one.
Because I reviewed that, I think.
Yeah, I thought you did.
And it was an absolute shit show for Artangelo. And Artangelo, come on. You got some splaining to do. You know what Artangelo did you see? He took an old pre-prepared dinosaur type PowerPoint presentation, and he started reading in his kind of nasally monotonous voice, without any passion, without any emotion. He just started reading all this nonsense from 1950. That's where his science stops. He's very disingenuous. Very disingenuous. And J.L. Warren just smacked him down with every single point he made. He smacked him down. And I'd be very happy to review that with you, Artangelo, if you want to come on, and we'll review that smackdown. Or maybe not. You could, because I did a smackdown on you, and so did J.L. Warren, and what you could do is you could defend yourself against both J.L. Warren and I. from
I don't.
that SmackDown. That would be cool. Listen, you know what I think? You know what I think, Artangelo? Between you and me, I think you're becoming more popular than Darth Dawkins. So, Artangelo, you would do me the greatest honor of joining this conversation, so we can talk about the book of Revelation. We can talk about the Antichrist. And we can talk about any other mythological, man-made, ancient story that you like. You think he'll come in?
No.
Do you think he'll jump at the chance?
I think he's scared.
Do you think any Christian would jump at the chance to come in and defend the honor of the Christian Bible?
They don't want to challenge you.
Why?
Like, I don't know. You intimidate them.
I intimidate them how?
You're brilliant. You're intelligent.
No, they said it. No, they told. Listen, they said I was pretty stupid. So come on.
Whoa.
I mean, Darth Dawkins himself said I was pretty fucking the least intelligent atheist he's ever seen.
Wow.
Or ever met. So
That's actually kind of a badge of honor, don't you think?
Well, it does, because in my aim, my objective of achieving mediocrity, this is a step in the right direction.
Well, he is getting more popular. I've just been like,
Yeah, of course he is, because he's you know why? Because when you talk to Artangelo, you're talking to Artangelo without this fear of this loud, aggressive, assertive Gestapo voice,
yeah.
barking orders all over the place. Darth Dawkins has yelled and Gestapo'd himself out of the circuit. It looks like Artangelo is the next. Is the next rising and shiny star of the Christian evangelical movement of the NIFB. It is no more Darth Dawkins. You have been dumped. Your belt has been taken away from you by Artangelo, Darth Dawkins, much like what the hell is his name? Conor McGregor's title was taken away from him when he got shit kicked by Daniel Poirier last time. Aren't they fighting again next week or tonight or something?
I'm so behind on fights. It's on my Google.
I want a Christian to devour.
Yeah, I'm not much of a meal.
Oh, I don't know. I'd eat you. Not in a Christian way, though. Okay. Now, where are those Christians?
I'm not sure.
Are there any in the chat? Let me get the chat. Hold on a second.
I don't think there's even any.
Let me pop over to the chat.
It's hilarious.
What is?
Artangelo, the man who thinks an armadillo is just like a Boeing 747. That's funny, Lucky.
Hold on, I gotta catch. I haven't watched the chat for a while. How far up should I go? I'm gonna go up until I find Artangelo. Oh, look what he said. Okay, let me go. He mentioned me. This is Angela mentioned me. This is exciting. Okay, so the book will reveal. The book will reveal where you will spend eternity. That's in the fiery lake of burning sulfur. Okay, we get that. I want to talk about that with him. Okay, so he said that. What else does he say in his brilliance? You will see. You make your bets. I guess he's betting that he's going to win, that the fiery lake of burning sulfur is where I am going to land up. What else does he say? Most epic says, Artangelo Grasso, but you shall sit on the right side of Jesus' throne, just as Jesus sits on the right side of his Father's throne. You all shall be sitting on your butt for eternity. This is when Artangelo comes up with his brilliance. He says, but the cowardly, the unbelieving, the vile, the murderers, the sexually immoral, those who practice magic arts, the idolaters, and all liars, they will be consigned to the fiery lake of burning sulfur.
So wouldn't all Christians end up there? Just saying.
Well, all Christians are liars, so they better be there. They better be there with me. Okay, what else does he? I just want to see when he disappears and why. Most epic. Artangelo Grasso. So an atheist shall get the same punishment as a murderer. This is exactly why I strongly advise for people like you not to make any more children. Ooh, that's harsh. And Artangelo's in his prime breeding years. Woo, smackdown. Artangelo asks, where does the Bible say that the punishment will be the same for all? It says so in Revelation 21:8, Artangelo. That's the one you pointed me to. What's wrong with him? Artangelo. People like Sidney Winston will be in the same section as Adolf Hitler, Nero, Idi Amin, Pol Pot, and Stalin. Sidney mocked me. Why am I trembling like this? I can't understand. Why is the hair standing up at the back of my neck? Why is this cold shiver running up my spine? Jesus Christ, Artangelo, you really overrate yourself. Okay, so he says that Sidney Winston will be in the same section. I want to discuss this with him as well as Adolf Hitler, Nero, Idi Amin, Pol Pot, and Stalin. That's quite a group that he's nailed. He's put me in there with. Interesting. The only one who's got any credibility at all in that he did do something okay. He just fucked up at the end was Nero. So I'll hang out with Nero. Okay, so thanks, Artangelo, for letting me choose who I could hang out with amongst a bunch of despicables. I'll choose Nero. Let's see. Then he says, only those that reject the Messiah and his offer of salvation.
I think people take it way too seriously.
Well, certainly this guy does.
Like, why can't it just be a happy story? But it can't be. There's so much wealth and power tied into it that, like, I don't know how to ever see it going away unless it's just people start living their lives.
Most Epic points out that he says Sidney compared to Adolf. He says, Artangelo, my friend, you know better than that, man. See? That's how low Artangelo. Not Artangelo. That's Christians. That's Christianity. If somebody does not believe in Jesus, they're Hitler.
I never think like that. Like it seems such a weird concept to me, yet people take it so seriously. And so maybe I can't be Christian because I don't believe like that.
Well,
If
you think there's a God, you might as well be Christian. Doesn't matter.
Well, can I pick my God?
You can pick your God, but it doesn't matter whether you call yourself Christian or Jewish or anything. You might as well just call yourself theist. To me,
Theist. I like that.
Yeah, to me, if you're a Christian or a Muslim or this or that, it doesn't make it you're a theist. It's like there's no distinction in my mind between theists. They're all just the same.
Okay.
So go with that one.
Okay, that one I like. I just like playing make-believe. What's wrong with that?
Clout says, Artangelo is coming in hot today. Yeah, he really did. He came in with full Adolf. Usually takes a bit before condemning all the naysayers. Thank you, Crypto. So awesome.
Okay. Sorry, cart.
Okay, I'm reading. I'm reading post here from nearly an hour ago. Okay, Artangelo. He says, Cryptomeria, nobody is good. Read Romans 3. So if Romans 3 was never written, how would we know that nobody is good? And if anyone doesn't read Romans 3, then they wouldn't know that nobody is good, and they think that everybody was good, not nobody. So again, that's a logical fallacy, Artangelo.
Yeah.
Get in here and defend yourself. You are worthy of entering the lair that is Sidney Winston's conversation room. Lol's Junkie could come in. Come on. You're always good
Yeah.
to boost everyone's mood. And you yourself could use your mood boosted. I agree with Henry Hansen. The Book of Revelation is great material for horror stories.
Well, I'm going to just pull up something.
Okay.
Just see what weird stuff I have on the Revelations.
Ah, excellent. Let's stay on topic.
Yeah, let's see what I have in the vault.
Lucky Seven Wolfen. He says, I learned about the Book of Revelation from an Iron Maiden song. That is cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I think everyone did.
And Lol's Junkie points out that murderers equals liars, and they all go to that lake of hell. God damn it. I'm going to find out more about sulfur and how to avoid it.
Okay.
How can the Pope be the Antichrist? Can you explain that to me?
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's like whole like things and churches built on it. Like, okay.
So scrolling down the chats, I haven't seen Artangelo in there for a while.
No, I think he bailed. He bailed.
Because everybody was making fun of me. Well, you know what? He's Artangelo. He's got those ridiculous points of view. Of course, he's gonna get nailed for them. Totally.
Yeah, because they did this whole book on it, and then they did a whole series on their weekly. Like in the States, a lot of the churches have like a second service on Wednesdays. Canada has it on Tuesdays, so I would get like 3 services a week. Good times.
Well, what's a service?
Sundays are usually lighter. They're music and then like a little sermon, a talk about a piece of the Bible. And then on Wednesdays it's like or on Tuesdays it's more an in-depth Bible study, like they'll really pick apart one. I would take notes so I wouldn't fall asleep.
Would you study your notes afterwards and reference the Bible that they were seemingly quoted from or alluding to?
Yeah, and also like I would have like my phone apps up, so because almost everyone
let's
just
have
had it on their...
let's have a Bible study of the very last one you paid attention to.
Oh, I'll dig up some of my notes because
must come from your memory because must know the stuff.
No, I've been trying to block this shit out.
No, you must know the stuff. Preach, baby, preach.
That's why I took notes, so I wouldn't have to think.
No, I wouldn't. I don't want to put anybody through this. Really, I don't. Not for.
I wouldn't.
Not because of you, but just because of the nature of the topic.
I would. And I don't think I would want people exposed to this. Like, I don't think it was a good decision. I got involved with it.
Yes.
And I wouldn't want to promote it. You know what?
You know what's caught my attention lately? Because Christianity is kind of, I have found, I can't find anything more stupid in it than I've already found. Okay, because the questions have started to become all the same ridiculous questions. I have started to focus behind the scenes here for quite a while. I've been doing this, and I have been learning a lot about Scientology.
Oh, that is a fun one.
And that is something that I'm going to get into for a bit. Because if you want to go after something that needs to be taken off the religious or the whatever the religious exemption thing is, it's Scientology.
I don't think they're in Victoria anymore. I think they got booted out.
Well, they're in their headquarters are in Clearwater, Florida.
Oh God, that explains it all.
Well, I'm
they're
learning.
Awful people.
Yes.
They're awful people.
Yeah.
They've killed people along the way.
Yeah.
Like there's.
Okay.
I'll send you the link to one story. It's just awful.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm on it.
I'm sure you'll find it. It's like awful what they did to her. It's awful. Like.
No, I'm on it. No, I don't care about the stories at this point. I'm into the actual the evil that is Scientology. Because it is evil. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
This whole sailing thing is just slave labor. Like they have this whole like creepy boat division, and it's like three generations
Sea
on
Org.
this. Yeah, it's so creepy.
Do you know why? Do you know why it's Sea Org? Do you know why it's CSEA? Do you know why it's kind of has this naval sort of a flavor about it?
Because he wanted to start his own like little army, didn't he, or
No,
something?
no, 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 no. L. Ron Hubbard was, you know, he kind of graduated. He was 18 in 1949, and he went, he went into the military and he went into the Navy, and he kind of failed at everything he did, but he did sort of become a commander of a destroyer or something. A couple of them. Like every time he commanded a boat, he fucked up. The boat got destroyed, and he had to be transferred. Eventually, he was discharged. But that's why he's got this naval motto kind of thing going behind it.
That's even creepier. That's even creepier.
Yeah, I learned a lot about. The more you learn about L. Ron Hubbard, the more you understand how Scientology works.
To me, it just seems so out there, but there's such an influence with Hollywood and media with it that it seems sort of benign. I mean, Beck doesn't seem scary.
What?
Well, just all the musicians and stuff that are part of it. Does that make it seem more innocent than it is?
What? Scientology?
Yeah.
How is it innocent?
Well, just having such a connection to Hollywood, does that make it more dangerous? Is that a better way to ask?
Has a
Because it seems, if it's in Hollywood, if it's in Hollywood, it seems, okay, well, if these stars are doing it, it can't be that bad.
Well, in most industries that are really tough, acting, insurance, vacuum salesman, car salesman, I don't know, customer service, all this kind of stuff. It's really, really tough, and it's a very hard slog, and life is shit while you do it. But there's always one or two that rise to the very top of this particular career, let's say, and really coin it in and love it and are really good at it and make a lot of money at it. But they are not the average Joe doing the job or in the industry. They just got lucky, or they whatever. They're doing well. They're at the top of the game. Now, these are the only people that appear in Scientology. None of the other people that are failures will you see in the Scientology literature, in the Scientology propaganda, anywhere. None of the stuff. So that's why you see Hollywood, because they do have some people in Hollywood who were born into it, and some who came into it later. But you have many, 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 many thousands of people who are stuck in it, who are unhappy.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like in the temple, like there's one door for the special people, and everyone else is in this other area. You don't mingle. You're not allowed to. They're the anointed ones.
For the last, that's another thing. The shunning is something to talk about. But the last year or so, I've been following a podcast called Scientology Fair Game. It is run by two ex-Scientologists, One of them was very, very high up in the Sea Org. And the other one also was an actress involved in Scientology. I think a family somehow was in it, and she was also very, very involved in it. And they're both out of Scientology, and they both have this great podcast, Scientology Fair Game. One of them is an actress called Leah Remini, which might be familiar to people who watch TV or watch whatever genre she's in. I've never seen her on TV. I just know her as Leah Remini from Scientology Fair Game.
Oh yeah, I know her. I've seen some of her stories. That sounds like a great podcast.
Yes, okay, it is an excellent pod. I absolutely, I recommend it. And actually, and the other person is Mike Rinder. He's the one who was way up in the Sea Org, very high up. In fact, he's the one. It's amazing. They have guests on the show because Mike Rinder was big in the fair. He was part of Fair Game, right? When he was in Scientology. So when anybody would speak against Scientology, he'd be part of the team that went after them back in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
And now he interviews some of them, and sometimes they're always good buddies, but sometimes they explain how they were both how Mike Rinder personally was after the guy that they're interviewing now, and how it all worked, and it's fascinating stuff.
Well, that's how organizations work.
Yeah.
You get sucked in, and then it's like, holy shit, how do I get out of this?
Yeah, indeed. All right. No one else is joining us, which is a shame.
Yes. Other people,
So,
people might be busy.
well, I'm going to keep the room going. So,
Okay.
So the link still works. All I'm doing is taking it offline.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you for coming.
You've all been great as usual, and we're going to keep